Hello, welcome to Trends. I am Bumi Obana. Great to be here. And with me is Wale Fakile. Hello, Wale. You're already smiling. Why are you smiling?
Because it's fantastic to be here.
Especially with me, right?
Not really, but I love the atmosphere.
Yes, it's that holiday season. I love that feeling.
Yeah. Christmas is everywhere. We are looking forward to a new year. So, yeah, fantastic to be here again.
Okay, so what do you have for us today?
For you today, we're starting in South Africa. Now, a new hashtag that has the word fall has been ringing the bell on social media in South Africa. Now, you remember the historic Fees Must Fall campaign that forced President Zuma to announce that there won't be an increment in tuition fee from 2016. Now, this whole new campaign is called hashtag Zuma Must Fall Again. Now, it originally started as Zuma Must Fall, but it evolved to Zuma Must Fall Again when the initial hashtag wasn't getting enough traction. Now, how did this all start? President Jacob Zuma unexpectedly, fired then Finance Minister Kla Nene, and he replaced him with the relatively unknown and untested David Van Rooyen. Now, this sent shock waves, of panic to the stock market, the capital market, and it also affected the rand, prompting calls for Jacob Zuma's resignation. So people have been protesting, saying that President Jacob Zuma must resign. But in a U-turn on Sunday, he announced the appointment of the well-respected Pravin Gordhan as the new finance minister. That will be the third finance minister in a week.
That has to be he has set a record.
Historic. So it just tells me there's a lot of confusion going on there in South Africa.
And it's funny when they don't give very cogent
reasons. Yeah, there are even speculations that the finance minister originally fired had a little misunderstanding with the boss of South African Airways, and there's this thing going on that he's been having affairs with the woman. So it's a lot of confusion, a lot of complications. But with this new appointments, things are beginning to take shape all over again in South Africa. So that's what we have on What's Trending segment for today.
It shows the power of the online space.
Yeah.
When they speak, the country listens.
So you can join the conversation by tweeting us at TVC Connect, but don't forget to add the hashtag TVC Trends and also comment on our Facebook page, also at TVC Connect, and send your pictures and video comments to us at the trends at tvcnews.tv.
All right then, now on to what today is all about. All right, so President Muhammadu Buhari has said the federal government may modify the December 2015 deadline given to the military to crush Boko Haram terrorists in order to address the emerging security flashpoints in other parts of the country. But beyond the Islamic sect, it seems there is more to worry about in terms of security after pro-Iran Shiite Muslims recently clashed with the military in Zaria, Kaduna State, north-central Nigeria, which led to the killing of some members of the group and the destruction of its headquarters, as well as the home of the leader. Now, the Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Toka Buratai, claims he escaped an assassination attempt on his life by members of that particular sect, and amidst war of words between the army and the sect, who denies that claim over who started this actual clash. Now, we'll be talking about all of this today because that is what is trending on social media, and we always talk about what's trending on social media. But before we begin, here is this report to give you a further breakdown into what I've just talked about. Don't go anywhere.
President Muhammadu Buhari has said that the deadline given to the military to end terrorism in parts of the country was open for modification. However, the federal government has again assured its citizens that the military will achieve its objective of decimating Boko Haram by the end of December 2015. Addressing journalists in the nation's capital, the Minister of Information pointed out that while the sect would by their deadline not be able to hold any territory, it will take some time to stop their attacks on soft targets. Lai Mohammed insisted that it was time for all Nigerians to own the war and contribute to the final defeat of Boko Haram by supplying intelligence to the military and being more security conscious.
What the government sought to achieve, which I'm confident will achieve, is that by the end of this month, the Boko Haram will not be in a position to hold any territory and say we are operating from this territory. Now, on the issue of whether there will be bombings or there will be attacks on soft targets, there's nowhere in the world that you end this kind of thing overnight. It will taper off gradually. But what the government has set out to do, which they are going to achieve, is to decimate the capacity.
The Nigerian military has reaffirmed its stance that no territory in the country is under the control of the so-called terrorist group Boko Haram. The president has also reiterated the support of his administration to the armed forces in ensuring that they deliver on their mandates.
Okay, in as much as I want us to delve into the discussion, we have to go on a break, but do not go anywhere, because when we come back, you get to meet our guests and the discussion starts properly. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back. Now we haven't started the discussion, but we're about to start the discussion into the deadline that the president set initially for the complete destruction of Boko Haram. And that deadline is going to run over by the end of this month. Yes, Wale, I saw you note. And then people are saying, okay, President Muhammadu Buhari, it's December. And he's coming out to say, actually, that deadline was a guide. It wasn't a definite date.
Well, what I would just make of that is it seems that it's not possible, before 31st, so they have to change what they had said. Just to tell Nigerians that, okay, we said this initially, but looking at what's on ground, I don't think it's possible. So it's just coining it in a different way to sound appealing to Nigerians. So
okay,
that's the way I see it.
Let's see if our guest on set will have the same view with Wale. On set, we have Cyril Abaku. Now, Cyril is a researcher and journalist joining us, and via phono, we have Joseph Ikon, a retired military personnel. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being a part of the program. Thank you, Cyril.
Thanks, Ambumi.
It's great to have you on the program again. We've missed you. All right, so you heard Wale, right?
Yep.
And even before we delve into that, I'm just thinking, are we winning the war on terrorism? Do you think we've seen reports, and we're not there, so we don't have hard evidence, but what do you think? Are we actually winning this war as claimed?
To be very frank with you, we're not. What has happened is that in the past 6 or so months, the military has successfully fine-tuned its propaganda machinery to be able to sway public perception in favor of what it is selling to Nigerians. But in reality, we're not winning the war. And I, for one, even if we were to be killing more terrorists today, I still wouldn't give them the pass mark yet.
Okay, sorry to cut you there, but when you look at, like I said, statistics that we receive, since we're not there ourselves, we've been told that initially Boko Haram controlled about 16 local governments, but now they've been driven away from most of those local governments, from 13 of them, and now they only lay claim to about 3. That sounds like progress to me. But yet you are saying, no, that's not progress. Help me understand it.
Well, first of all, you need to realize that the war against Boko Haram is multifaceted. That's one. Then number two, we are essentially fighting against, you see, what the Nigerian government has succeeded in doing is to frontally have the ambition of trying to kill terrorists. That's fine, but that doesn't address the issue. What we're fighting is terrorism. What we're fighting is a mindset. What we're fighting is a way of life. Until we begin to have a robust ideological campaign against the philosophy that continues to help them to recruit more and more people to fight for them and to go and bomb for them, we have not begun any substantial war on terror.
Okay, but we all listened to the Minister for Information and Culture harping on the importance of intelligence gathering in this phase of the war against Boko Haram. So I want to know, what's your assessment of that part, of the fight against Boko Haram? How do you assess our intelligence gathering?
I think that in terms of potential, we have the infrastructure to gather the intelligence that we need. You remember that the bombing of the UN Secretariat in Abuja, Kabiru Sokoto, the man that was arrested as being the mastermind, I mean, it took the Nigerian intelligence community to do their findings. we have the intelligence, we do have it. That is, we have the infrastructure that can help us to get intelligence, but we are going to get the benefit of our findings in terms of what they translate into in practical gains on the battleground. Now, the army will tend to get the benefit of our findings in terms of what they translate into in practical gains on the battleground. Now, the army will tell you that they've cleared all the tickets, all the camps of the fighters in Sambisa. Then after a month, you will hear that there are still some camps in that same ticket, and they are still going to carry campaign. So, really, sometimes what is truth and what is not truth, when you're fighting a war like this, the first casualty in any battle is the truth. It's not even any soldier, it's the truth. So we understand that Boko Haram has its own propaganda machine, the army also has. But for me, what is key and what is prominent, what stands out for me is the fact that when we are waging this war, we should be careful to wage the war, first of all, against the philosophy. I mean, even if we've killed 6,000 fighters in the past 3 or 4 years, for instance, I'm just giving an instance, hypothesizing really, up till now, Boko Haram still boasts, if you look at the videos, they boast great numbers, people who are still, buying off on the philosophy. Tells you that what we will be concentrating is not just the military campaign. There is also supposed to be the mind or mental or intellectual flag of the war on terror.
So a change of strategy.
Yes,
right
until we can incorporate that particular wing or that particular dimension of the struggle against it into the campaign, we won't be able to achieve. Like the president said when he was campaigning, he said he will finish Boko Haram in about 2 or 3 months when he got to power. Then he came to power, I think in August, so he said the December deadline. It's I for one, I'm not so enthused or enamored by the deadlines that we are setting. If you look at countries with history of terrorism, in fact, even Colombia, look at Afghanistan, look at Iraq, you know that the war you're fighting is not a conventional battle. So what you need to do is to understand the exact nature of what you're doing and set out a comprehensive strategy of how you're going to deal with it. Look at the multinational joint task force that was supposed to be forming. Up until now, the plan that they are going to form it, Benin, Cameroon, Niger, what has happened? It has gone comatose. Well, so even where we are to say our target is an all-out military campaign, we are falling short of the standard.
Okay, because this is not just a unilateral fight now. It's a fight with a couple of countries, so we should be coming together.
Our neighbors, yes.
But from the president's arm now, they say a lot is being done. We hear that there's a boost in morale. We have all seen the change in leadership, the change in location of the headquarters. But people are saying, yeah, this is only surface deep. And I know you've pointed it out by saying that, we need, a more comprehensive strategy. But that will not solve the immediate problem. And couldn't that be what they're trying to address at the moment, the immediate problem? If you get rid of their arms, you kill most of the men who are active in battle, then you can solve that other problem of trying to eliminate the ideology.
The immediate problem, what you call the immediate problem, is you cannot clearly pinpoint Boko Haram to be in a particular location. You cannot. That's why you have the attack that took place, I think, in Adama, where we are told that somebody came out and gathered people and was sharing 500 naira notes. Then, as they gathered the numbers, the bomb went off. So, yes, you can actually continue the campaign, bombs in the air, boots on the ground, yes. But even that campaign is supposed to be drawing its inspiration. I give an example. Boko Haram simply means Western education is forbidden, is false, is evil. And I'm thinking, what is the countermanding alternative that we're also offering to them? Let us say, for instance, Boko Albarka, or we say Boko Dakiao, or we say Boko Aminchi, in their own language. Yes, saying Western education is actually good. So once we declare such a campaign as a parallel to Boko Haram, we are going to be getting support, because Boko Haram does not thrive only based on those who are going to bomb and who are also going to fight. They have sympathizers among local populations. These are facts that are known to everybody. When the army came out and said that Borno elders were supporting the sect with weapons and with charms, what do you make of that? There was a time that these people ran to Kanu, for instance, and before the military could step in, they had mixed up with people. So the point is, if the heart of a man has been weaned from a particular way of thinking, you have gained sufficient track. In fact, it will look as if whoever is a recruit or fighter to this of the sect is already has a limitation. That is to say, he cannot go beyond where he is already. But when we don't know where it begins and where it ends, and people are continuing to find the ideology more seductive and more interesting, they continue to get people to be on the side, and that's the bigger danger. Because we're not dealing with this from the mind, we're dealing with it from the field. If you say it's an immediate threat, we've had it for more than 6 years. Just before the elections, 6 weeks to the elections, we gained traction and cornered them to Sambisa.
Okay, but Cyril would continue.
All right, welcome back, and you are still watching Trends, and we still have Cyril Abaku with us. Cyril, I like your very blunt and strong opinions, but at the end of the day, Boko Haram has been listed as one of the world's most dangerous terrorist organizations. And even if you look at some of these countries that have been battling with terrorism on ground, now I don't mean visitors that come in to blow up on, it almost seems like it is a never-ending battle. Should we be redefining what success means? Should we be redefining what progress means? Maybe it's not, the complete elimination of their existence, but the reduction of it. I don't know. I just think, what do you...
If you look at what is even happening globally, look at Al-Qaeda, for instance. I don't remember the last time Al-Qaeda itself carried out a real major attack anywhere. But you continue to hear that an Al-Qaeda affiliate, for instance, you have Al-Shabaab in Somalia, Al-Qaeda affiliate in so-so place and this place and that place, carrying out an attack. Al-Qaeda was degraded. You degrade before you destroy. There is a sense in which you can gather your intelligence, do all your homework, cut off their sources, not the one that you bring a colonel seller and tell us that this is a sponsor of Boko Haram. I mean, it doesn't fly really, so you have to cut out the means of supply, go after their leaders and their kingpins, and these things could take some time. Which is why, like I say, it is not entirely a matter of deadlines. Look, if the military operation in the north, if the JTF is called Lafia Dole is a military operation. It is not a counteracting philosophy to Boko Haram. It doesn't say no to Boko Haram. It is just a normal military operation. And I mean, if you turn that into English, it could just mean Operation Restore Peace, Operation Flush, or something like that. We need something that stands against. Look, if you say Boko al-Baraka, for instance, anybody who comes out to say, why Boko al-Baraka? Why don't you just have the norm? We say, okay, it is either you are a supporter of the philosophy that Boko is actually haram, or that Boko is something else. So what we are essentially looking for is a redefinition of the strategies, a redefinition of the game plan, the kind that is all-encompassing and takes its bearing from the fact that Boko is not haram. You see, the issue of our neighboring countries not even having supplied their troops yet. So these are things that you can sort out within a day or two. If you send your foreign minister to Niamey or to Porto Novo and all that, you can sort that out within days. But the issue of setting up a counter ideology takes something to you're going to sit down, get some think tank. They think this thing through.
Thinking it through. Let's bring in Joseph Iko now, who joins us on phone. Joseph.
Good evening.
Good evening, Joseph. I believe you've been following the conversation in the studio with Cyril. But what I want to know is now, look, since President Muhammadu Buhari assumed office, and Boko Haram militants have been flushed out of their major hideouts in Sambisa Forest and some of the local governments that they held. And since then, you discover that they've been attacking soft targets, suicide bombings and all that. Now, would you say that this is an attempt to show that they still have the capacity to mount attacks, or it's they are stronger than the Nigerian military?
Boko Haram has never been stronger than the Nigerian military. The issue of Boko Haram is the issue of ideology. And the main issues in ideological struggle or warfare is not the issue of occupation of territories and defeat or victory. It's the issue of the mind. And Boko Haram has had a lot of ideological gains in Nigeria. So they are not occupying space or time today. Does not necessarily mean that the sect or the group has been annihilated in Nigeria. The main issue is that the Nigerian state has been able to contain the spread of the ideology to almost all parts of the country. But the main issue is that after the death of the ideologue, Mohammed, the leader of Boko Haram, under the cost of the Nigerian state, other elements within the group have seen the need to occupy space and time. And that is basically their own doing. I want to believe that the Nigerian state still have the capacity and the capability to contain Boko Haram within the ambit of space and time, but they may not be able to contain the ideology of Boko Haram.
Okay, so in your opinion, you're trying to say that the target the president initially set was a realistic one?
Of course, it's realistic in terms of occupying time and space. It's realistic to defeat Boko Haram within a specific period and to also take them out.
But the period, sorry, Joseph, sorry to cut in, but the period he set was this December, so before the end of this year. Is that still possible?
Yeah, it may not be realistic in terms of total annihilation of the. When you look at a military context, when you look at time and space, what is the group occupying? Are they occupying a large area? Are they occupying a sea area? Are they occupying a space area? So Boko Haram was able to occupy so many areas, as you are correctly rightly said, and they were able to do this within a particular time. But what I'm trying to say is that the Nigerian state will definitely, at a certain point in time, be able to defeat Boko Haram within its occupied space and within a particular time. But the issue of the president giving a deadline may not necessarily be the realistic unity set. But in political terms, yes, at strategic level, you may need to have a time frame in which you need to end a war.
Okay, so even aside, ideology and all of that, some people say, before we even get that far, right now there are other problems like we used to hear misappropriation of funds. So, the money that's supposed to go to equipping and catering for the foot soldiers we're not given to them. Do you see that changing now? Because we've had change in leadership, we've had change in location, but we haven't really seen an overhaul of the entire system. Or maybe we have. What do you think?
The system has been on since 1960. And the establishment knows that the system has failed. So what I believe is that nothing has really drastically changed with the establishment. The modus operandi of the Nigerian military system, I used to say that the issue of corruption in Nigeria would open the gates of hell.
Okay.
Anybody that brought the paper of corruption would definitely open the gates of hell. So within the establishment, it has been business as usual. So nothing is new, and I have to believe that.
All right, Joseph, sorry to cut you there, but we have to go on another quick break. When we come back, though, we'll be expanding this discussion to look at what is happening right now between the army and the Shiite Muslims. Please do not go anywhere. Welcome back. Now to the clash of the Nigerian army and the Shiite Muslims. The Sultan of Sokoto has issued a stern warning to President Muhammad Buhari and his government over the killing of the sect members. Okay, Cyril, give us an idea of what is happening with regards to who exactly these Shiite Muslims are, because for some people, this incident is the first time they're even hearing about that sect. So give us an overview.
Well, basically, from what I know, Nigerian Islam is basically Sunni, but I think that Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaki, got converted to the Shia movement with inspiration from Iran, I think in 1979. He's over time been, I think there was once he was a political prisoner in the 80s and in the 90s. His sect of Islam, really in the north, isn't so much of a majority sect. They are really quite a handful. But recently, I think beginning from 1999, when Governor Ahmed Makarfi of Kaduna State accorded him some recognition, you know, he came back into cognizance. But in essence, what this sect wants to achieve is not too far from what Boko Haram also wants to achieve: the creation of an Islamic State.
Wait, the creation of the Islamic State across board or just in that community?
Well,
where
at least beginning from what they've been doing in Zaria, you know, where they doing their processions, nobody should come close to, you know, what they are doing. I think they even have places where they mount checkpoints, check civilians, check whatever, you know, a sort of autonomous, a self-governing Islamic vision. I think that's what really drives them. So, but with regard to, I don't know if I should begin to speak into what happened over the weekend.
Yeah, please.
Where we really haven't, quite frankly speaking, known the truth.
Yeah, all we know is that,
yes,
you know, at some point there was a clash, and the army is saying it was an assassination attempt at the army chief, while the other guys are saying no, it was actually an interruption of our usual procession.
Well, if the army says that it was an assassination attempt, I feel that is a little bit over the bar. You know, I mean, of an allegation to make. But what bothers me more is, Bumi, look, the Nigerian Constitution is very clear in Section 10 that Nigeria is a secular state. Okay. Now, if some organization, be it a cultural, be it political, be it religious body, we are to be having a procession or a rally on the road, and you had a governor coming, you know, with his convoy, I think the normal, natural thing we do is to steer clear, is to make way, because religion, I mean, the state as an entity has all of these institutions as subsets of its within its jurisdiction. So for a particular organization to attempt to raise its scope beyond statal powers, I mean, should be willing, should be ready to brook provocation or penal measure, should be ready to brook provocation or penal measures in return. Because you can't tell me that you're going to block the road and you have the COS coming and you are going to, you know, remain there and continue with your procession.
But now, the fact is there was violence and people lost their lives. Yeah. So let me see what people are saying on social media. Then I'll come back to you, Cyril. Ruba Alasani says, why is Zakzaki massacre not drawing global attention like Paris attacks? Because those killed were Africans, black, Muslim, especially Shia. And Mai Sam says, as if the Boko Haram problem was not enough. Very short one there from Maya Sam. For Mr. Fix Nigeria, their President M. Buhari, this could have been avoided. We should learn from history. Nigeria needs peace. Hashtag Zakzaki. And Madud Sinab says, Nigeria government should let terrorists kidnap your schoolgirls, but you turn your weapons on unarmed men, women, and children. Zakzaki. For Demho, extrajudicial killing is wrong, but how do you tackle someone with history of fighting constituted authority with arms? That leaves credence to what Cyril is saying right there. But I want to go back to this one from Mr. Fix Nigeria, who said, Dear President Buhari, this could have been avoided. We should learn from history. Nigeria needs peace. Now, I believe it's referring to how the Boko Haram insurgency started. Now, their leader was arrested, eventually died in custody. Now, I want to know, you're a retired military personnel. How could have the army handled this situation? Could it have handled in a better way, or how should they have handled it?
The Nigerian military have a culture, unfortunately, of mishandling their interaction in terms of civil order and maintenance of civil order. I am highly disappointed in the action that followed the attempts on the life of the Chief of Army Staff. Having said that, I want to ask the generality of Nigerians, what is the life of a Nigerian worth? When are we going to value the life of a Nigerian? We have a history of Zakidian OD, all these massacres that normally happen once we have the military or the security agencies having interaction with the civil population. I think the modus operandi of the military operations in Nigeria should be reviewed. The weapons are too much in the streets. If a policeman is not shooting a woman inside a bus, the security, other security agents are massacring people in the villages because they have encounter with them. I've said here that I strongly condemn the Shia Islam for their attempt on the life of the chief of army staff. But at the same time, couldn't there have been any other way for us to have handled this issue? Is there no other way we can handle when civilians said no to the security agencies? I think we are overlooking the military. I think the police need to be retrained to handle any civil disorder that has to do with not necessarily the army, so to be our last line of defense.
Okay, so Joseph, let me take serious reaction on this particular subject. Inais is criticized the military's management of that situation. What's your take on this?
Well, the question you want to ask yourself is, they should have a history of being attacked during their processions. So is there the possibility that they were prepared for self-defense this time around? That's one. Number two, who is a soldier? Between somebody who carries a weapon, dressed in mufti, and one who dresses in military camouflage, unarmed, who is a soldier? I think the rule of engagement says that once anybody holds a weapon, a rifle or an arm, he is no longer a civilian. So what I mean, like I said earlier, the truth of what really transpired is not yet clear to us. But if what the army said, that when they tried to stop them, then they fired first at them and then they had to retaliate and whatever the case was, I'm worried that, because perhaps with the handling of Boko Haram as well, we are now having the shared movement coming up. I mean, we can have 2, 3, 4, 5 more of them. But the point is, what is the vision of the Nigerian state with regard to this broad-based security issue? There's nothing.
Okay, and on that note, I'll just hold you there because we have to go for another break. So go take a cup of water, but remember to come back because we have more for you. Welcome back. And before we went on a break, we're talking about the unfortunate incident that happened over the weekend, which resulted to the loss of many lives, women and children. And this is, the clash between the army and the Shiite Muslims. Joseph was speaking. Okay, I think Cyril, you responded to that. And during the break, we were just bantering. This is not particularly a question I think I can direct to anybody, but why is there so much violence? You hear this all the time, and it feels like, something happens and we have trigger-happy army men or, the other side who just resort to violence. It's so easy to take lives.
There is. I mean, if you've been reading news lately, I think this morning there was a story about a particular police officer who the court has sent to 10 years in prison for killing a protester during Occupy Nigeria in January 2012. It looked as if justice was long in coming, but it's a good thing it's been served. We need more of those. If we have our judicial system strong enough to continue to deal with people who, look at their poor killings and all of that, people who misuse their possession of the instrument of coercion, which only the state should enjoy, it's fine. But beyond that, coming back to what happened over the weekend, I hope even today.
And there was a protest that went wild.
Now, okay, so I mean, what? Like I always ask, what is the mindset informing these things? Somebody would have given the order for the military to either go on the offensive or the defensive, whatever happened on Saturday, which we don't know. But I'm asking, what was seen before that order was given?
Okay, let me Joseph answer that because you have the expertise. While you're answering that, I also want to ask you this because a lot of people are saying, a lot of people fear, and it's understandable what is happening with Boko Haram, that this might just instigate another terror sect. What do you think? What could have transpired, and will this in any way instigate another terror sect from starting up rather?
Absolutely. Shia Islam is part of Nigeria. I am a Christian and I've been in Zaria and I've been in other parts of the country, especially in the north, where I know that Shia Islam has a lot of followers. And Al-Zaki is an ideologue of Sharia Islam. It's a symbol of Sharia Islam. So the issue of his being manhandled, is being treated in any uncivilized way would definitely attract sympathy from across the section of Sharia Islam. So it is in the interest of the Nigerian state that this issue is being handled carefully. We are aware of the history of when a leader is being killed. If you remember very well, the Niger Delta struggle was basically Ken Saro-Wiwa and his group who were not armed. But after his death, we had later had the apparatus of footballers of this world who were now fully armed and ready to confront the state. So we must be very careful with the way we handle this particular issue because it involves Nigeria. I think at this juncture in our national life, we need to seriously look at the issue of a sincere dialogue across the country. Some people want Sharia to be implemented across Nigeria. Some people want Nigeria to be an Islamic state. There's no matter about that. They have followers. They have believers. Some people want resource control. They have believers. They have followers. Some people want fiscal federalism. Some people want issues that have to do with secession. So we need to really come up, sit down as Nigerians. I don't want any decision.
Okay, so fantastic, Joseph. Let me direct this to Cyril. Now, it's like the whole incident is taking an international dimension. Iran is involved. In the final notes, just tell us what you make of Iran's involvement and what should be the reaction of the Nigerian government to this incident to resolve it.
Well, first of all, I expect the Nigerian government to come out and condemn any attempt by any group that is a subset of the larger nation to attempt to impose its will, you know, on government or any government institution on them. But the government hasn't even said anything, even after Iran summoned the ambassador in Tehran and all of all of what has happened. To take it from what Joseph said, finally, is to say that look, this country seems to be approaching a gathering climax. Okay. For which reason, every shade of opinion must be brought to the table to have a consensus on how Nigeria is going to move forward. If we fail to do that, we might.
I know you could go on, but we have actually come to the end of the program. I cannot take any more. Thank you, Joseph Ikon, for being a part of Trends. And thank you, Cyril Abako, for being with us. It was great having both of you join us. And thank you for watching. Remember that you can remain a part of the program. How can they do that? Quickly,
just go to our Twitter handle at TVC Connect and drop your comments using the hashtag TVC Trends, and also post your comments on our Facebook page at TVC Connect, and send your pictures and video comments to us at thetrends@tvcnews.tv. I'm Wale Fakile.
And I am Bumi Obana. Bye for now. See you next time.